Oh, I've got the wrong key.
Bienvenue, welcome once again to another live stream. This one is Muffin Sales Meltdown with David Treacle-Jernick, who's managed to mute himself amusingly, and myself, Gareth Wax of the Many Purple Hats. Now, we always talk about topics that can help people do things today, not stuff that you have to wait around or study, something you can implement pretty much immediately. And today's topic, I think, is probably no different. Today's topic is work harder, get smarter. Work harder? I don't want to work harder, David.
I know. It's a reaction to the old adage, work smarter, not harder. Yeah. Now, I can only really speak for a very few topics, one of which is sales. So I don't know if this is necessarily something that can relate to other areas of life. But I was listening to a podcast. I don't know. Well, you might know. Do you know the Primeagen? Have you heard of the Primeagen? Michael Poulsen, the Primeagen.
No, I don't. Go on, tell me more.
Michael Poulsen. He's a very, very famous. He's like a celebrity programmer, coder.
Okay.
He worked at Netflix and all sorts of places, and he's sort of known for rebelling and reacting against work smarter, not harder, because his whole experience of becoming like a superhero computer programmer is having done the grind, having worked really, really, really hard.
Right.
And it always chimes with me, that kind of thing, because I'll give you an example. So I've recently been running a whole series of these objection handling masterclasses.
Yeah, I saw.
And you know, one of the things that it's a freebie for people that fill in a questionnaire. Yeah, you can have a look and see if there's available dates on www.treacle.com/objection. Right, it's another one of these things where, you know, if you put it into action immediately, it will improve your conversion ratios. Yeah, I did one yesterday. I got a message back also yesterday from one of the participants saying that they had implemented it there and then and closed the deal there and then, right after the thing. Okay,
right.
So. But that is not the norm. The norm in sales is that you go on a course, or you read a book, or you do some coaching. Yeah, you acquire new skills, and then you don't put it into action. Yeah, you learn how to do things smarter, and you don't fucking use it. Right? I mean, the number of times I've walked into corporate clients. And I walk from the lift to the offices, and I'll be walking past their desks, and on their shelves they have the spin selling workbook. Right. They have the major account selling workbook. They've done all of the courses. They've done them. And why do they still need me? It's because they didn't put it into practice. They didn't grind at it. They've worked out. They've been taught how to do it smarter. They've even worked it out for themselves how to do it. They've gone through that. Let's be smarter about it. But they haven't put it into practice. And unless you put something into practice, it ain't gonna work.
No. Well, it's about,
and what this person, occasionally when somebody comes on one of my masterclasses and they do put it into practice, it works, because, you know, it's fresh in their mind and it works. And what I say to them once they've done that is, right, now do that 17 times in a row.
Yeah, because it's building that mental muscle, isn't it? You need to create that sort of muscle memory, so that the way in which you do it is fixed in. You don't have to think about it. Then you can really push down into active listening and really try and dig out the nuance.
For sure.
It's when people have one great success, lean back and think that's it now, and then they try and apply what they think is the same technique again. It doesn't quite work, and that's it. They're disheartened. They could only do it once. No, that's not true. You do have to practice.
Yeah, and multiple times. So it's like partly to do with the commitment to continuing with it. And that's why I make my business a coaching thing rather than a training thing. I do get a lot of people asking about sales training, and I say yes, but it's not really training. Why do I do coaching? Why do I do that? Because if I just train you how to do it, you'll leave the training and you won't put it into practice. Yeah, and all I care about is getting the outcomes, and all you should care about, if anybody watching this, is getting the outcomes. And to do that, to practice, if you think about your own special skills. So I'm generally not coaching sales training companies on how to sell their stuff. I'm generally coaching accountants and lawyers and commercial insurance brokers and utility brokers, business services companies is who and they're an expert in what they do. You should see how utility brokers work, commercial utility brokers. They'll take the bills from the energy bills from a factory or a food company.
Right.
Then they'll go out to market and they'll have certain deals that they're aware of. And they're constantly in that buyer's market, so they know what's going on. They know what the trends are. They know what's going to be the best policy to get for the next 2 years for their clients, save them huge amounts of money. They're experts. They have to be experts at it and immersed in it. They're not, and they do that. You can't just learn how to do that on day one.
No.
You're doing it day in, day out. One of the most successful people I know at it, somebody called Juliet Stone, she's amazing. She's been doing it for years. She's got a whole team that supports her doing it. And you can't just let go of the market. She's constantly on it. Right. And that's why she's good at it. And if you want to be a good seller, you need to be implementing. You don't need to become an expert. You don't need to become an expert. You just need to learn a few things and put them into practice consistently and make habits out of them.
So it's about taking a series of actions, often each of which is relatively simple, and applying it and do it again and again religiously, so that it gets to the point where you're doing it without having to think about doing it. It just is, it's become natural. And that way, it also makes your conversations feel more natural, because you're now less focusing about what's the order I do things and whatever. You're now focusing on listening to the other person and finding out what they really need, want, or expect.
Exactly. It really helps you. It means that you don't have to think about what you're doing, so you can purely focus on what they are. Charlie Parker, the famous late sax jazz player, right?
Trumpet player.
Sax. But that's fine. Let's just say wind instrument player.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Do you know what? He probably could play I bet he could play the trumpet as well, and I bet he was pretty damn good at the piano and the drums.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was pretty good.
Charlie Parker. And he famously said, I'm going to be paraphrasing, unfortunately, because I can never remember exactly what they said, but he was famous to say, you master the music, you master the instrument, and then you forget all of that and just play. Right. And I DJ is my side hustle. Right. I have a controller, of course. I know mixing, but I've not got my head down concentrating on the mixing, because I'm DJing a party. I want to have my head up. I want to be with the people. I want to be tuning in with the people. All of that mixing happens naturally. The track selection happens naturally. Yeah, because I've been doing it so much. I'm immersed in it. And the same with sales. Your camera, man, is brilliant. Why don't you just leave it like that?
Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Just leave it like that.
It literally just fell off.
Just leave it like that. That's cool. No, it's nice. It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
Poor Gareth, his life has been falling apart the last couple of days.
Literally. Things and knocking things down. But yes.
So I'm going to do the same thing. And with the sales, what it helps you do, once you've practiced it over and over again repeatedly, is it helps you do something that's super, probably the most important thing in selling, which is to tune in to the person who is the buyer. So you can really listen to what they're saying, hear their voices, acknowledge their voices, absorb the stuff that they're telling you. The stuff that they're telling you is the stuff that will help you sell to them.
Yeah, because they will tell you. They will tell you that if there is a sale to be had there, they'll tell you what it is they need.
Exactly. And when you can tune into them, you can pick up on all sorts of things. Like, when you told me that you had that problem yesterday, you seemed to react a little bit to it. Like, what was that reaction? And then they'll explain to you, oh yeah, well, it caused me considerable pain because, oh man, no, I hear you, dude. To really get into it. And by doing so, you'll improve the trust that you have with them. In doing so, you'll improve your ability to follow up because you'll know how to follow up and when to follow up and what to say in your follow-up. I get often asked so many times, I need to follow up more. What do I say though? Have you got my contract yet? You got my contract yet? You won't need to do that if you've been tuning in from the start. You'll know exactly what to say because it will be in your notes because you would have written it down.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you do it that way and you've been listening hard and you really tune into what they really want to achieve, then even if you don't get it all immediately, you'll have opened up that channel. So it's quite easy to go back and say, I want to help you more, and I think I may have missed something. So let's go back over what it is I think you want, reading back, and let's see if there's anything else.
It's a gift that keeps on going. It means if you've forgotten to do something along the way, you're able to pick up the phone and say, I realize we've been talking a little bit about this, but I realize I've also forgotten to ask you something. The question is, if you were to go ahead with this kind of stuff, when do you think that might be? Just to ask that question, which a lot of people forget. I've forgotten to do that in the past, but it means you have the ability to do that. Okay, it really opens up the door. So that whole, work smarter, not harder, I don't think is a very helpful thing. You will end up working smarter or being smarter once you have worked harder.
I mean, if I could compare to my other side, my side hustle, which, I'm a professional percussionist, and a
great one. But can I just say for the folks out there that don't just hear him say I'm a professional percussionist. I've gigged with him. He is insane. He will drum over anything, man. It's brilliant.
Anyway, thank you. Very sweet. That's not what I was going for. What I was going for is I don't have to think about the basics of it because I put in the grind early on. Now what I do is I think about all the fiddly bits that I can put on top because all the basic stuff is happening anyway. And that's where you need to get to. All the basic stuff in your sale is already happening. You've already asked the right information up front to start the conversation. They already now see you as a good guy, not a person who's just trying to rip them off. They see you as someone who's attentive, who's written down everything they've said, repeated it back to them verbatim. So they now realize that you actually do listen to them when they say they've got a problem. And then you can start focusing on the bits around the edge, the stuff in your periphery that you haven't perhaps taken much notice of, because all the basic stuff.
Those are your differentiators. Those are the USPs, the things that will make you stand out from all of your competition.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to do the groundwork first. You have to put.
Sure. If you're a musician, if anybody watching this is a musician, you'll know what we're talking about. If anybody watching this does martial arts like I do, you'll know.
Or is a dancer, or is an actor. All of these things are muscles that you have to build up by doing it again and again and again, and getting better and better at it. Yeah.
And probably it's going to be a painful journey. Probably, unless it involves some discomfort, it's probably not doing any good. So, whenever I'm asking my clients to, repeat back word for word what you hear somebody say in an objection, when you hear an objection, it's like it could be awkward. Whenever I get my clients to follow a particular script when they're making a cold call, and it is the script that will get you through most doors, you're like, oh, can I really say that? So let's practice it together. Let me hear you say it. Yeah, you hear me say, I'll do it for you on a phone call, a live phone call. We'll do it that way. And it can feel, as one person who's an American said, it feels hokey sometimes to do these things, but it's basically a level of discomfort. Okay, and once and then you know that it's starting to work once that level of discomfort starts to dissipate. You know, a bit like jumping cold fueled.
I think if people realize that it's not always going to be discomfort, it starts that way. It's almost like when you rode the bicycle for the first time. I don't know how many people out there ride bicycles. For initially, you're wobbly, you're all over the place, and eventually it just clicks. And the basic formula of staying upright and not just pitching over, how to brake, how to change gear. Once you've got past all that nonsense, you can start actually enjoying the damn thing.
Yeah. And cycle along without even thinking about your balance.
Absolutely, because all the basic things are stuff that you automatically do, and you need to get that the basic process of starting, mediating the sale and completing it. All that basic stuff should be repetitive stuff that you've done many times before, and that when you do it, it's done earnestly, honestly, and with integrity, so that they feel that you really care. And that means that they'll open up to you more. They're more likely to tell you about those extra things that you could do for them that nobody else can. You've got to be able to listen in, and it's a lot of it is stimulus response. So you have to be able to say the right things up front so that it gets their heads scratching and going, well, I hadn't thought about it that way before, but yes, I probably do need some help with that. So, suddenly the world opens up. Yeah.
There you go. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, I do listen, David. All right.
You're very good.
Thank you. Very sweet. Now, and by the way, if anybody's out there and wants a damn good party, get David to sort it out. He's the best at making sure people get exactly what they want. In fact, what amused is the wrong word. What tickled me a little bit when he first told me about how he runs one of his parties, he said, one of the first things I do is try and work out what the theme is, and then maybe develop a font and maybe put T-shirts with it on and stuff. It's like going to the nth degree. It's like making it a full experience rather than just turning out, hearing some music and going home with a balloon. You know, so if you want a proper event, get David to sort it out. Anyway, right back at you, David. Anyway, and it should be mentioned that on the 30th of this month, David and I will be performing together again at the Wellington in Boreham Wood. Is that right?
You got it.
It should be a good night. So turn up around about 7-ish, 8-ish, and then we go on until we fall over, really. So it should be good fun. So to all of you out there, do the basic bits, repeat them until they feel natural. And the moment they feel natural, you can start focusing on your USPs, because that's going to be the bit that differentiates you from all the other people doing similar-ish roles. Remember, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and please try and look after that mental health. Until next week, bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.